way of looking how others see you and how you see yourself. And up at the top, we have information that's known. It's self-information. Known to self, not known to self. And along the side, it's info that's others. Known to others, not known to others. And if we look at everything through the lens of the Johari window, we see where the quadrants intersect. There's information that's known to self and known to others. We call that our open self. Remember when I was giving you instructions to fill this out? I said, please remember to put something that you feel comfortable sharing with somebody else. That's an important instruction. Sometimes I forget that one. And it's important because what we're ultimately trying to do in organizations and with teams is increase the open self. This is proved. This is not just Mike. You can look at Gartner studies. You can look at all kinds of studies from all over the place. If you engage people and you increase this open self so the information is shared, what goes up? What increases? Trust. But I didn't hear what you were saying. Yes, trust. And if you look at, I have a trust bar at the bottom here. I added this to the Johari window. So now it's Johari, and it's Joseph, Harry, and Michael. But this trust bar on the bottom here, some people approach trust, I trust all the time. Some people approach trust, I trust none of the time. And there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. There's no should. It's just about the transaction and the person or people we're dealing with. Now, yesterday was all about the leader, the person. Today is about leaders themselves, but also leading others. So leaders developing leaders. So I'm going to take it from a perspective as we go through the compass to relate it to this Johari window. And the compass is on the other side of your icebreaker. But remember, there's information that's known to self. We know it, and we're not going to share it with others. That's our hidden self. And in effective teams and organizations, let's face it, there was some information that I wouldn't share with you, like I watch Naked and Afraid. But no, I'm kidding. Oh my God, I shared that. But the issue is how do you reduce the hidden self? Because effective teams, if you've read Patrick Lencioni's book, has anybody bought that out there, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team? Some of you have. I encourage you to get it. If you are a leader developing other leaders, you need that info. Because he studied it for 30 years. He really knows this stuff. He's rebranded it now to the 5 Behaviors of a Cohesive Team, but it's all the same information. They're not republishing the book. But in there, they talk about you expose different information about what you need in order to be successful. And in dysfunctional organizations, they don't do that. They're afraid. They're afraid they'll be rejected. They're afraid that their idea is not right. They're afraid that their boss will get mad at them. They're afraid their customers will get mad at them. Oh, gosh. So we want to decrease the hidden self if we're leaders developing other leaders and increase the trust and reduce that. Is it ever going to be reduced totally? No. But certainly we want to go further than we are now. And you can measure where you are in trust. It can be measured. There are tools. There's also information that's not known to self, but known to others. And this punches you in the stomach. In 1988, I got information that I was motivating, inspiring. I was leading a group of 150 people in IT. And they said that Mike is a visionary. He's good with customers. But they said he's wishy-washy and he doesn't hold people accountable to behavior. Ooh. Not what you want to hear when you want to move up, right? Mike, go take... And I didn't really even believe it was true until the head of HR said, Mike, he was friends with me. He goes, hey, we got to go out. So he took me out for bagels. If you go to bagel from an HR person, you got to really, we got to pay attention. So anyway, so he said, Mike, you got to look at your behavior. So I hired somebody that specialized working with teams. She specialized working with doctors and nurses in hospitals. But I said, you know what? I can apply this to the IT world. It's really exactly what we need to do. And we were able to change the team from one of the worst IT value surveys in the company to the best. It took time. It's a process. It's not an event. And we're going to give you the info and the tools today to do it because it involves process, strategy, tools, everything that Manly and Catherine are going to be talking about. And so we're going to give you some things that help you with this blind spot. Has anybody ever gotten information that kind of punched themselves, kind of hit them hard? They didn't want to hear it. But they got this information from a partner, a friend, a boss, and it kind of hit them hard. They didn't want to hear it, but they'd be willing to. It was important to them, and they'd be willing to share it with this group. Anybody would share with us a story? Yes. So he's analytical. Good.
Analytical, and the advice that I got was from my executive that I needed to find that good balance between being passionate but not being overly assertive. So I was seen as intimidating rather than influencing, which is something that I've worked on very hard over the last couple of years.
So what's your name, by the way?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, thank you so much. So it came from a strength. The strength was analytical. The strength was hard facts and numbers, and you were passionate about it, but you overused the strength. And that's the point. We all have strengths. If we overuse the strength, it becomes an Achilles heel, and sometimes we don't know what it's creating. And we need to find out. Isn't that information we know? We need to know? Now, let me ask you, when you got that info, did you change any behavior?
Well, put me on the spot.
That's all right.
I just, I always tried to remember that I didn't need to be the first out of the gate to say something to control a conversation, that I needed to sit back and make sure that I was being an active listener and to hear what people are saying first. Because, when you have 3 or 4 people in a room that are all going to share an opinion, I always had to be the first horse out of the gate. So, that way it would be more difficult for contrarian opinions to be expressed. So now I make sure that I sit back and be the last person to speak.
Unbelievable. I want everybody to congratulate Jonathan for saying that, because that will set him free. And he gets a 12 Steps of Courageous Leadership book. And I thank you. If you could pass that back to Jonathan. Thank you so much for sharing that. Why? Because every single person in here, and I haven't met a person, we've been coaching for 16 years, haven't met a person yet that doesn't have strengths. And I haven't met a person yet that needs to know if they're overusing them or not. Because we're always pointing at somebody else. It's our bosses, it's this, it's that, it's the other people, it's the customers, it's us. If we have a set of strengths and we're aware of them and we tweak them just a little, he didn't give up on his point. All he did was listen a little differently. He didn't give up on his strengths. All he did was add to them. Made it a bigger arsenal of strengths. And because of that, that set him free. Because that will save time, money, and that's worth a lot of money to the company. Believe me, measuring it, and it's about 80 hours per person per year that goes down the tube because people can't do that, what he just did. So everybody give him a hand again. Awesome. That's blind self. And we need to know what that is. And then there's what's called the unknown self, and that's information that's not known to self and not known to others. And they say that's where true creativity and innovation lies. It's the study of thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, differences, attitudes, everything. And it's the ideas that come out from that investigation that sets true creativity in motion. And it's a journey going on. It's not an event again. It's a process. So I thank you guys for this part, and now what we're going to do is take this part and look at our compass, which everybody's got a compass. How much time? Am I okay with time? Yeah. Okay, so I want to look at the compass. The compass is broken down into some of the things that we've already heard about here. And it starts with vision, mission, goals, measures, equal behavior. You have to have a vision as a leader. A vision is a dream or an aspiration. I like to look at it like it's like a telescope. It puts something way, way, way out there. It's kind of fuzzy. It's personal. It's almost impossible. And it lives on forever. It's eternal. It's what we call vision. We take it and bring it closer with another symbol, binoculars. Binoculars takes and makes that vision come more of a reality, and it's what we're going to do and how we're going to do it to carry out that telescope, binoculars. And then if we think of goals as eyeglasses, it makes it personal and 100% applicable to you. So those goals can't be a cut and paste of your boss's.